Welcome to my how to build your body and mind through fitness guy. Okay, this is no BS and it is simple. By the end of this, you'll know exactly how to build your body and how to build your mind. Okay, and I will also tell you a little bit about how fitness changed my life. Okay, so in this guide, you're gonna learn about physical training, mental fitness, consistency, nutrition, and perspective. Okay, but firstly, before I got in shape, I always let people joke about me and play around with me, and I thought it was a sign of friendship, but all it was a sign that they didn't respect me. But the problem was that I didn't even respect myself, so to demand that respect from someone else wasn't really an option for me. So I just kind of like laughed and acted like I was unbothered. I struggled with insecurities so much to the point that I never really tried anything with women because I was scared of intimacy. I had this thought and I was scared that they would just look at me and say, ew, okay? It was a major thought that I had. And then lastly, I've always told myself that I'm not good enough to do this. This was kind of the thought that was guiding my life at the time. I had zero belief in myself. I always thought I was an outlier, but for the negative side. Like I was just non-responsive to anything I would do to try to improve myself. And I'm a younger brother, so I was always like a bit more protected, okay? I got almost everything handed down to me, like from clothes to phones to shoes to privileges, literally, that my brother had to earn, but to me, they were just handed to me. It landed on my lap. And this was the same occasion with the national team. When I was 14, I went to represent the Portuguese national team for water polo in an international competition, okay? In my second appearance, when I actually earned my place, I learned that my first appearance was solely due to the fact that I was left-handed, not that I was skilled, because being left-handed in water polo is kind of like having 2 meters in basketball, okay? And although these like never really came from harmful intentions, it was always sending a subconscious message of I'm not good enough to do this by myself, and that was a narrative that was writing my life. So my story, right? I've never had a crazy breakup, a car accident, a death to deal with. I was just fed up not being good enough, okay? I feel like a lot of times, and even when I started my fitness journey, I thought I needed to have this crazy story behind it because that's what was gonna, root me down to every day go there and keep pushing myself and this and that. But, then I realized that I needed to do this for myself. Not because of some external tragedy. If that was there, maybe it would be good motivation, but I needed to do this for myself, okay? I was always the funny, fat friend, not because I was funny though. It was always because I'd attempt to hide my shame. And I got a lot of laughs around me, but people weren't laughing with me, they were just laughing at me, but I was convincing myself, no, that's not true, right? I just wanted to be validated so badly. I hung out with the cool kids, but in exchange for this validation I got, was my dignity. And let me tell you, it was not worth it. I always felt like I had abnormal talent, but that same talent that could make me excel was paired with below average efforts and habits that kept me in the middle. Right? I was always just able to do what everyone else did, except I put 10% in so that I could stay comfortable. And my whole life I was writing this narrative that I was content with being average because it took little effort. Like I just wanted a forest when I only planted a seed, which doesn't make sense. And one day I took a hard look at myself in the mirror and looked past the lies, past the excuses that kept me comfortable. And I just decided that I wasn't going to fall victim to any excuse or let anyone else dictate my situation anymore. I looked for 30-day fat loss programs. I joined fitness apps. I looked at the how to get abs in 5-minute videos, and I searched for fat loss smoothies and foods and all these things. I was always looking for quick ways out. And then I said, no more, okay? They all had this one thing in common, which was low commitment and low effort and low accountability, okay? That's why none of them worked, because I was trying to get out of a different outcome with the exact same mindset and the exact same inputs. Now, before I start, let me tell you who this video is for. This video is for you if you are ready to change, okay? If you're tired of staying stuck below your potential and ready to no longer settle, to no longer carry regret, no longer carry frustration, and no more self-doubt, okay? This is for you if you're committed to invest in your health, to improve your self-esteem, okay? This is for you if you want to influence other people positively, to lower your stress, improve your mood, to sharpen your focus. if you want to radiate such unwavering confidence that it is literally impossible to ignore, so magnetic and commanding that women and men naturally feel inspired to elevate themselves to meet your standard. Okay, now let me tell you who this is not for. This is not for you if you just commit with no emotion and you don't see it through. You set unreasonable goals instead of building consistency. This is not for you if you have a victim mindset. If you're thinking the world is against you and the world is out there to get you. You know, you're always making excuses like, I have bad genetics, I have slow metabolism, I don't have time, oh, my gym's not good enough, etc. These are all excuses. So this is not for you if that's you. This is not for you if you'd rather stay comfortable and remain the same rather than stay uncomfortable and grow, okay? And lastly, this is not for you if you are here to mentally masturbate, okay? This is not for you if you're here just to watch the video to try to get some sense of accomplishment without actually having to do anything. This is not for you if after this video you're gonna be like, oh my God, I learned so much, I know what to do now, but you take absolutely no steps. So let me give you a second. You can click off this video if you identify with any of these categories. Okay, now that we got the fucking ballers in here, let me continue with this. Firstly, your perspective was wrong, okay? Fancy outfits, money, cars show that you take your job seriously, not that you take yourself seriously, okay? They don't prove real confidence or personal integrity. True confidence comes from how you carry yourself and the standards you set for your life, not the props or the status or the symbols you display, okay? Here in the picture, I have my very good friend. I blurred her face out because I don't want to expose her, okay? But women don't show confidence, all right? Money doesn't show confidence. Being a serious person is about the discipline and the respect you show yourself, okay? Not just playing your part for others. Money and a good fit body literally is the best combo because it shows that you've conquered not only the financial world, but you've conquered yourself as well. Okay, now secondly, girls does not equal confidence. Getting with a lot of girls doesn't show confidence and self-respect. If anything, it kind of shows the opposite because it shows you're not confident enough and you need to be validated by the woman you get with, okay? If a girl you get with gets with men who aren't even on your level, you're gonna start to be categorized as one of those men, okay? Let me give you an example. Ferraris are only driven by rich people. So if you're rich, but you drive a Volkswagen, okay, it doesn't matter how rich you are, you will be categorized with the people that drive the Volkswagen, not the people that drive the Ferrari, right? Even though you can drive a Ferrari. Does that make sense? Okay, now, a fit body in a simple outfit will speak more than a fat body in Louis Vuitton. And this says volumes, okay? I'm always in a simple outfit. Everyone that is in shape doesn't need these crazy outfits because they are the outfit. Whatever they wear can just enhance who they are, but it doesn't define who they are, okay? That's because your body is a reflection of who you are and not what you have, okay? So, pour the energy of seeking validation into validating yourself, and that's how you're actually gonna change. Now, let me introduce you to the Project Shred method, which is what you will learn in this video. The Project Shred method is a system I developed through my own struggles and through my own failures, okay? And through my own breakthroughs even. It's built on 4 core pillars, yeah. Which is radical introspection. You have to pinpoint your goal and map out the path. You have to formulate a plan and execute it with consistency, persistence, and no procrastination. And lastly, sculpt a body that projects respect and confidence, okay? Now you may notice that the body isn't last simply because that is the least important part, because once you nail these first 3, the 4th one will come no matter what, okay? So let me start with the introspection. What is the introspection? It's basically a self-audit, okay? What are you gonna do in this introspection? You're gonna be brutally honest with yourself. You're gonna thoroughly evaluate where you currently stand in different areas of your life. So physically, mentally, emotionally. Hold up a mirror to your reality without excuses, with no filters, with no denial or whatever, because the goal is really to just uncover all the gaps between where you are right now and where you want to be, so you can identify the problems and eliminate them as fast as possible. Okay, what is this going to do? It is going to build awareness, which is the first step to change, because you don't improve if you can't acknowledge mistakes. Okay, without clarity, you'll keep repeating patterns that are literally holding you back. Secondly, it roots out excuses and denial. It helps you stop blaming circumstances, people, or whatever it is you're blaming, okay? And you take full ownership of your situation. Think about it. Even if a situation is only 5% your fault and 95% the circumstances' fault, you have to take accountability for that 5%, because you have to try to control it as much as you can, or else you can't grow. Because if you're always saying it's not my fault, it's not my fault, then you're also never going to be able to hold your future, to change yourself. Because if it's not your fault, you can't do anything about it, right? You always have to see it like that. Then focus on your energy instead of just vague goals and all these things, okay? When you do an introspection, the goal is to focus on critical areas. What does this mean? This means to point out critical spaces, okay, very important spaces, so that your efforts and your inputs are efficient and effective. Now, lastly, it builds self-respect, because facing your flaws is literally one of the hardest things you can do, and it builds power, it builds confidence, it shows you're committed to growth, okay? Now, how are you going to conduct this introspection, this self-audit? You're going to find a quiet space with no interruptions, no nothing, because you need to be honest and you need to focus, okay? You're going to make a list with the key categories to evaluate. So like your physical health, your mental health, your habits, your relationships, your career, your finances, your consistency, everything. You're going to write everything down, and in each category, you're going to answer these questions honestly, brutal honestly. Whether you want to listen to it, whether you want to write it down or not, you have to write it down, because that is the one truth, and that's how you're going to grow. Okay, so you're going to ask yourself, where am I right now? Right? Describe your reality. Then ask, what are my biggest weaknesses? What are my blind spots? What excuses have I been telling myself? Then ask, how does this area make me feel about myself? How does this area impact me, right? And then what would a healthier and stronger version of me look like in this area? Find out what the ideal situation in this area is, okay? Then you're gonna identify the top 1 to 2 areas that are limiting your progress or your happiness or your goals, whatever, the most, and you're gonna focus on them and take action on them first. Then fifth, you're gonna write a personal commitment statement. So like, for example, you're gonna say, I'm done avoiding this. I will work daily to improve my discipline and my fitness, okay? So you're gonna write down exactly a commitment that you're going to make to yourself, not to anybody else, to yourself, right? Now, we are also going to have to set goals and align with them, okay? You're gonna pinpoint your goal and you're gonna map it out. Why is this important? Because clarity fuels confidence. When you know exactly what you want and why, your decisions become easier, and your reason, not your motivation, your reason is stronger, because motivation comes and goes, okay? When you have no more motivation, you turn back to your reason for why you're doing this. And that's, if your reason is strong enough, that's how you know you're gonna last a long, long time, okay? Because with that reason, you can then build discipline, you can then build a habit, and then your reason doesn't really matter anymore, because you have the habit, you have all these things, right? Then it aligns your actions with your highest priorities. Pretty self-explanatory, right? And it builds momentum, okay? It also prevents wasted effort, but that kind of just goes with everything inside, right? Achieving small aligned goals creates a chain of reaction of success, and it reinforces good habits. Now, how are you going to set these goals and effectively align with them? First of all, you're going to define your goals, define your vision, visualize who you want to be, okay? Then don't set goals only results based, set them inputs based, because when it's inputs based, that's something you can control. Sometimes you can't really control the results. You can just control the input. So let's say I'm going to go to the gym 5 times a week. I'm going to go to the gym 3 times a week. That is an inputs based goal, okay? Then thirdly, you're going to understand the character and the habits needed. Ask yourself, what kind of person, what kind of man is consistently achieving these goals? What kind of man is in this situation? And then you can determine the mindset and the habits that are required to achieve this and to embody that person that has all of this consistency, that has all these goals achieved, right? You have to reverse engineer your goals, work backwards from the big goal and establish the milestones that you need to get through, you need to go through, you need to achieve, okay? And lastly, you're going to create a daily non-negotiable habit, okay? You're going to identify small, consistent habits that directly impact your goals. And these can be, I don't know, like following a workout, doing a meal prep, eating properly, like going out with your friends, but when you go out, you're not going to drink or you're going to eat well or this and that, okay? Start creating these daily non-negotiables. Now, you are going to then formulate a plan. How are you going to formulate a plan? You're going to start with your goals and break them into phases, okay? You're going to start dividing them into smaller chunks with clear targets, like a 3-month goals or weekly milestones or daily milestones, okay? You can select the time period between, but that's kind of the goal. It's just to define the milestones you need to achieve. And secondly, you're going to outline the key actions required. You're going to identify the needle movers, okay? You're going to figure out the most important 2 to 3 needle moving activities per day that can directly contribute to your goal. Then you're going to create a routine off of it. You're going to decide exactly when and how you will do these activities. You're going to slot them into your routine and you're going to build consistency to form habits with these needle moving activities, right? Then you're going to use tracking tools. So track your habits, track your workouts, your nutrition. You can use like MyFitnessPal, your notepad, whatever it is you need to use it to make sure that you are accountable and to make and keep visibility clear. This is super important. Then fifth, you're going to prioritize and eliminate distractions. You have to focus on what truly matters and you have to remove low leverage tasks and low leverage activities so you don't waste time and energy. Then sixth, you're going to fully commit and show up no matter what. This is the most important part, okay? Consistency, showing up no matter what. Now, lastly, your training and your nutrition, okay? This is the easiest part. Once you've done all the other things, once you've mastered all the other parts, this is the easiest part to do, okay? How are you gonna structure it, right? You're going to build a purposeful workout plan, okay? So you're gonna focus on compound movements like your squat, your deadlift, your bench, overhead press, your row. You're gonna focus on these movements because they are the foundation. And the foundation to build strength and muscle is what matters, not no fancy exercise or your cables or these angles or this and that, okay? Then you're going to train 3 to 5 times a week, balancing intensity and volume and frequency, okay? So let's say you have less frequency, meaning you go less times to the gym per week. You're gonna improve your volume, you're gonna increase your volume, and you're gonna increase your intensity. Now let's say you can go more times to the gym during the week. You're going to reduce a bit your volume, but you're going to keep that intensity high as well. So you have more frequency, less volume, more intensity. Does that make sense? Okay. Now let's say you go a lot of times, a lot of volume, you're going to reduce the frequency, the intensity so that you can actually recover. Then you're going to prioritize progressive overload. You're going to gradually increase weights or reps to ensure growth. I cannot tell you how this is so important. A lot of people just stay stuck with the same weight. You cannot stay stuck with the same weight if you want to grow, all right? Then you're gonna avoid focusing too much on accessory exercises. Like I said, you wanna master the fundamentals first. These move the needle faster, okay? Then you're gonna wanna schedule rest and recovery. These are even more important because if you train hard, you need to rest hard. If you train hard, you are not going to grow if you're always training hard, if you don't give your body time to recover, right? Now, secondly, for nutrition, what are you going to do? You're going to aim for whole and minimally processed foods 90% of the time. Okay, you're 90% of the time, you're going to try to eat as best as you can. Lean proteins, vegetables, healthy fats, complex carbs, things that are good for you. Okay, then you're going to customize your calorie intake. You can go on the TDEE energy calculator, okay, and find your maintenance and then play around with it, okay? If you want to gain muscle, you're going to be in a slight surplus, but when you want to gain muscle, you have to prioritize protein as well. Either way, you have to prioritize protein. You have to get like 1.6 to 2.2 grams, I think, or like 1.5 to 2.5 grams of protein per kilo of body weight so that you can repair and grow muscle whether you're in a calorie deficit, whether you're in maintenance, whether you're in a surplus, okay? Now, for your goals, if you want to gain weight, like I said, you're going to be in a surplus. If you want to lose weight, you're going to be in a deficit. If you want to maintain the same, if you want to recompose your body, so lose fat and build muscle at the same time, you're going to stay in a maintenance, at most in a very small deficit, okay? Then you're going to plan meals and snacks to fit your lifestyle. This is a big thing that people don't do. People just they just want to adhere to someone else's meal plan that doesn't have their lifestyle, that doesn't have their likings, that doesn't have anything. So they don't learn how to eat. They just do all of these things. Now, you're gonna learn to cook simple, healthy meals so you can control the ingredients, you can avoid hidden calories, and you can do everything tailored to your preference, okay? Now, you have two options from here, okay? You have two options. And the next one that you choose is going to shape the next 6 months of your life, okay? Option one, you can figure this out by yourself. You can, if you're disciplined enough, you can literally do what I just told you in this video, apply everything I just told you in this video, and succeed. But here's the truth that most people don't want to admit, and it's an unfortunate truth, okay? Almost everyone falls off in the first few weeks. Life gets busy, motivation fades, before you know it, literally like a month has passed or 2 months have passed or the first weeks have passed, and now you're right back where you started because you have to restart everything, okay? Option two, you can commit to Project Shred. You will get my personal guidance, my structure, my accountability. You will get everything that I can offer you, you will get. Take a look at this. You get 24/7 accountability. You get weekly calls to reflect on progress and maximize it. You get nutrition. You don't just get nutrition. You learn nutrition. You learn how to do this by yourself, because the goal of a coach isn't to keep you hooked on forever, isn't to keep you hooked on for the rest of your life and dependent on him to learn, to know how to eat, to know how to train, to know how to everything. It is to learn how to do it by yourself. Okay, so you will learn nutrition. I will give you a personalized training plan, but I will also teach you how to train, why to train like that. And lastly, we will do mindset works so that you can fully remove that scarcity mindset. You can fully remove that mindset that was keeping you stuck for years, okay? I will give you the exact tools and systems that guarantee that you won't quit on yourself ever again. Right, you'll have me in your corner to make sure that you get the results you've been chasing for years. Okay, now one choice keeps you stuck in the same cycle of starting and quitting. The other one breaks that cycle forever, right? So the choice is really yours. And this isn't about just your physique. It's about how you feel when you walk into a room, when you see yourself in the mirror, when you live day to day knowing you're finally the man you want to be. If you're done accepting less from yourself, you already know which option is yours. You already know which is the best option. And if this speaks to you, don't wait another week, another month, another year, because nothing changes unless you do. Okay, so you can book your free call with me. You can go to my Instagram, you can send me a message, you can everything. And let's map out exactly how we're gonna build your body, your mindset, and the respect you've been chasing, okay? But understand this, I can only take on a limited number of guys at once to give my full attention. And when those spots are gone, they're gone. If you're ready to stop being overlooked, to stop hiding behind t-shirts, to finally walk into any room with confidence, this is your moment, okay? Click the link below, book your call now, and let's get to work. You've been thinking about this long enough. It's now time to act, and I'll see you on the other side.